service. All right, should be good on that. Let me just confirm. All right, we're live there. And now I can share out the slideshow so folks can know what is happening somewhat generally, at least. Share and keynote. All right, that is shared out. Let me just have a couple queries coming in, and so I will answer those for folks, but we will get started at 7:05. And in the meantime, Alex can tell us what his favorite text editor is and why, which is not at all a controversial topic to start with 4 minutes before the thing starts.
I use Notepad++ a lot for like Scratch and stuff like that, but I guess it depends on what I'm doing. I don't know. What is your favorite? And what text are you editing?
Whole lot of JavaScript in Gatsby today. It was sort of my little foray into things. I was debugging the use of Node SAS on the M1 ARM CPU, which apparently is an adventure in reconfiguring things to run in an emulation layer, because we want to just sort of work automatically the way most things do. We add in some checks so that only folks who are experienced enough and know how to Google appropriately can run it. And so that is, adventures and sort of at the bleeding edge where, folks have not yet blazed the trail. But otherwise, I did get it working, and I felt good about that. It does output data in the GraphQL, which is a fun sort of API format to be able to query all this data in this static site generator that we have. And so it can, organize all the different posts and things in there and rearrange them to our heart's content using all the React components. I will say it is a little slower to compile than Jekyll, which we use for the codeforboston.org website. And that has otherwise been good. And if folks are interested in static site generators, if you're interested in sort of contributing to codeforboston.org, or if you're a project lead and find that your project information is out of date, we of course have the Code for Boston Jekyll site on our GitHub organization. And so you can check it out there at github.com/codeforboston. And it's sort of a good spot to, get a sense of what's there, and also, suggest improvements either by looking at an issue and maybe making a pull request in response to it, or, if you see something that's old or outdated, can certainly open your own issue and suggest some improvements there. It is a community thing as much as I end up doing, I think, like a quarter of the commits at this point, and I think Thad was doing the other half. But I was excited to see someone did contribute a pull request to codeforboston.org like a week ago. And the nice thing is the folks at GitHub, they host these static sites for free now, so it's kind of like the new GeoCities for software developers.
Can we get those fun banners that they used to have back?
Ooh, under construction. I feel like Code for Boston is always under construction because we're just always getting better. All right, you got 10 seconds, so I'm gonna just sip some water and then we can get started. All right. And with that, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Code for Boston. My name is Matt, and I'm on the organizing team here at Code for Boston. And so, I'm happy to answer any questions. If you need help with anything, certainly available for that. In addition to that, we have a couple other organizing team members here. We got Annie and we got Alex. I think Thad is somewhere in there, as well as potentially Brian. So they're all available to help you out as well. The way this is going to work is we're going to have some opening remarks, announcements. After that happens, we will then do project updates. And after project updates, new folks can stay in here with us and we will do new member orientation. And then after new member orientation, folks will be able to head off to whatever projects most excite them. And we will, of course, stick around to chat and answer questions and such. So with that, let's start with announcements. Do we have a Will Pfeffer here? Is Will in the room tonight? All right. I was just gonna call on Will because, as we talked about last week, just a little reminder that the National Advisory Council elections are coming up, and so we got some candidates that might be running from some of the smaller brigades. Thad is, of course, our representative as a larger brigade in the Code for America network, and so if folks want to start to learn about that, there are going to be some opportunities, and I'll post the links to those opportunities to learn from the different candidates that are running. And as a brigade member who attends on a weekly basis, you would be entitled to vote for someone. So it's an opportunity to hear from folks and then potentially influence the larger direction of the brigade network and the kind of work that we do here. So definitely appreciative of all the effort that the folks at Code for America put in on this sort of thing. And it's an opportunity that, since Thad's on the board, they listen to a lot of our concerns and, of course, help us with a lot of our back end work, whether it's fundraising or getting in-kind donations or that sort of thing. So that's the knack. Next, code of conduct. Make sure to follow our code of conduct. It's at codeforboston.org. The gist of the code of conduct is this is a respectful space. And if for some reason you feel like you aren't being respected, if you feel uncomfortable for any reason, reach out to one of us on the leadership team. We're empowered to enforce the code of conduct. So if any Zoom bombers come into the room, Alex will quickly boot them with prejudice. So, we have that available to us if that becomes an issue. Also want to encourage folks to connect with us. We're on a bunch of social channels, but I think the thing that most folks like to follow is we do have a weekly email newsletter. And so that comes out on Wednesday mornings. It's usually a summation of a lot of the different updates that folks are sharing. So if you're on a project and you're not able to share your update here, you can always send me a message and I'll make sure to include that update in the newsletter. And then on top of that, I also include jobs and event postings. So make sure you're posting your jobs postings and hashtag jobs. And then, of course, the events and hashtag events. And I cull them from there and include them in that newsletter for folks. Meetup is where a lot of you found out about us, and just want to keep encouraging folks to RSVP at meetup.com/code4boston. It boosts us in their algorithm. I, of course, keep the latest Zoom link at codeforboston.org/room/CFB. So if you make a browser bookmark for that, you'll always be at the latest registration link. And this registration link is currently good through April. And of course, if you are not yet on Slack, if you're in Zoom or Face or YouTube and you haven't made it to our Slack team, if you go slack.codeforboston.org, that will redirect you to our Slack inviter. You'll get invited to our Slack workspace, and that's where you'll be able to engage with the community, talk with the folks on the different projects, and learn more about what we're all up to. Finally, donations. We are a nonprofit, and so we accept donations via credit card on the Code for America website. That's the easiest way to support us. It's not a ton of money to run this every year, but we are very appreciative of the folks that do donate. And if your employer has a matching program or other ways to support your work here, feel free to reach out to me or Harlan, and we're able to arrange a lot of the logistical things with that, whether it's Google Giving Week. I know a bunch of companies have specific giving platforms and sometimes need us to do something to get on that particular platform, or sometimes groups like to sponsor workshops. And those are all things we've made happen in the past, and we can make happen for you if your organization is excited about the work that you're doing at Code for Boston, wants to support it in that way. So with that, let's move on to project updates. And so we will start with My City.
Hey everyone, similar to, we were off last week, 2 weeks ago. Similar to that, we're still working through some automated test issues with our automated test suite. So continuing to look at that tonight and hopefully getting those back up and running. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Jamie. Next is Safe Water.
Tonight we're going to be continuing to optimize our deployment basically, and we're fleshing out documentation and stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. Next is Job Hopper.
Hello there. So last week we had our core team review with a few folks here at Code for Boston. And so we're going to be sorting through some of the decisions and ideas that we had from that. Plus we connected the correct database, the full database. So our results pages are looking much different right now. And we're probably going to be talking about that as well tonight.
Cool. Thanks, Ed. Anyone here from Plug-Along? All right. Yep. Oh.
Last week we working on some feedback from our App Store submission, fixed some feedback from Apple about the sign in with Apple feature, clarified some permissions requests, and then noticed some errors on the Android Play Store submission. So we're going to take a look at those this week.
Great. Next is Clean Slate.
Yeah. So our data team, we met with our partner to share what we've learned from our analysis so far. Lots of good news there. We're going to continue working on some new parts of the analysis tonight. App team has been working on automated testing. We'll continue to do that. And also we're learning about adult sealing and what the workflow of that will look like.
Awesome. Last but not, second to last but not least, windfall awareness.
Thank you, Matt. So last week we updated everything for 2021. The Social Security releases new economic information for on the turn of the year, and we did all those updates. We're hoping to move away using the code that we've written over the course of the year. We will eventually move to something that doesn't need that kind of maintenance, but in any case, we're welcoming, we're almost ready to use it thanks to all of our developers, and we're welcoming React developers, WebAssembly developers, C++ developers, and anyone that wants to help with project management or UX. We could also use your help. So come on by the Windfall Awareness channel.
Awesome. And now last but not least, I still haven't textually added them to the slide, but I have not forgotten about the Good Governance Project Advocacy Map group. So, so feel free to chime in and share what you all have been up to in the past week. Or maybe not. Maybe they didn't make it tonight. I saw some activity in their Slack channel earlier, so I'll send a note to Matt and find out what they're up to. But other than that, I guess the other thing I want to encourage folks to do is a whole bunch of these groups have their apps out, and some folks here may not have explored or used the applications that your peers in the other groups are using. I know that there's a beta for Plogalong, and we have, my city is out like on production. I got on my Echo Alexa device that I just got. And so, if you got some time after hacking tonight, go pick up and download these apps. I've been including the links in the newsletter, but if the project folks want to include direct links in general to like your production application or in the Zoom chat, share them there. And then that way, your peers can see the awesome work that you've done, because I've been playing with them and I've been impressed with the quality of all your work. And so certainly am excited to see folks continue to set a high bar here at Code for Boston. So with that, everyone that's working on a project, feel free to head out, and everyone else, stay tuned. We'll get the live stream down and start orientation in a couple of minutes. Happy hacking, everyone.